Audible and visible to all of you. My name is Shubham Sagar, and today we'll do Hindu analysis of 26 November 2025. Right? Cool. So without wasting any time, let's start today's Hindu analysis. My name is Shubham Sagar. You can connect with me on LinkedIn. This is my Telegram channel. I'll be sharing this particular Hindu analysis by evening in the Telegram channel so that you can revise it, in a proper manner. Like you will watch it right now, and then in the evening, if you're watching it or you having a look at this, PDF again, you will remember stuff in a much better manner. Cool, sir. So let's start the discussion without wasting any time. Just give me a second, guys. And like yesterday, in yesterday's Hindu analysis, I gave this particular question, and this was related to INS Mahe. Which of the following best describes the strategic relevance of ASW shallow watercraft? Good morning, Matt King. Good morning. Good morning, Iltush. So Matt King is Anandu. Good morning, Anandu. Good morning, Iltush. So this is related to ASW shallow watercraft. This is related to INS Mahe. Anybody has any idea? Like Matt King, Anandu, and Iltush, do you have any idea what is INS Mahe or what is ASW anti-submarine warfare shallow watercraft? What is the basic rationale? What is the best answer for this particular question? Any idea? If you have any idea, you can write. I will wait for 30 seconds. Or anybody has any idea? Cool, I'm audible now. So yes, what is the best answer here? What is the relevance of this INS Mahe anti-submarine warfare shallow watercraft? They're used to conduct blue water long-range anti-submarine operations. They provide coastal defense by detecting and neutralizing submarines. So we have discussed this yesterday. If you have not watched yesterday's Hindu analysis, you can watch it. INS Mahe is anti-submarine warfare shallow watercraft. That means it is targeting enemy submarines which is in shallow water. Shallow water means less depth, low depth waters. So the answer here is B. They provide coastal defense by detecting and neutralizing submarines operating in low depth water. Cool, 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 cool. No issues, Iltush. So let's start. MCQ 10B. Let's come back to the present and let's talk about today's article and what are the things which are important. No, B is the answer, Anandu. B is the answer. Cool, cool, cool. Let's come back to the present, guys. So page number 20, science to GS1, GS3. So why GS1 geography? Assam tea. So Assam region, when it comes to, growth of tea in India, not only in world, Assam is one of the major regions in the world when it comes to tea plantation. Now, if somebody asks you, if somebody asks you right now that tea is what? Tea is a rabi crop or a kharif crop. So what will you say? So if you know it, you can post it in the comment section. Tea is what? Is it a rabi crop or a kharif crop? We have discussed thousand number of times the mnemonic for rabi crops and kharif crops, and we will discuss it again today if needed. This article is much more than that. So GS1 geography perspective and why important from GS. Are we going live from today? Yes, we are going live from today, Iltush. So we will be live, and if some issues happen, let's say some technical flaws, some net connection, etc., then we can have. Thank you, Iltush. Then we can have. I can upload the recorded video, or if I'm not present, or if I'm somewhere else, then otherwise we will have live classes only. There are other things also. See, understand one thing. This particular period, November and December period, this is the period when people are not focused on UPSC, so to say, because I don't know why. People should be focused, but they are not. From January, people will be very focused. So, but again, it doesn't matter. There are multiple advantages of coming live. First of all, I can interact with you people. Second thing is, if like I'm doing the same thing, even in recorded also. I'm recording from 8 a.m. only, but timing is later, right? It doesn't suit well. Every minute matters when it comes to Hindu analysis, quality as well as the timing matters. Let's focus. So this article is saying that, yeah, this article is saying that, things have changed when it comes to Assam. Things have changed. The climate. We talk about global warming. We talk about climate change. Assam is impacted by it. Assam's temperature has increased, and tea is a very very delicate crop. Delicate crop means it requires a certain specific amount of temperature range in which it will survive. It requires acidic soil, which is there in this particular region. So it has very peculiar parameters which has to be satisfied. But because of climate change and other factors, these parameters are changing, which this article is saying. So for Assam tea, erratic climate and stagnant prices present a crisis. What else is happening? Erratic climate we have discussed, one factor, and we'll talk more about it. Stagnant prices means like rice and wheat. When you will compare it, rice and wheat with tea, in last 20, 30, 40 years, they have increased or seen a greater increase in prices, as compared to tea. So stagnant price, erratic climate, all these things are posing issue for the tea growers in Assam. And ideally people should focus, or Assam government should focus on these people, right? Because it's not like one or two people, we're talking about 12 lakh workers. But if I show you today's Hindu, what they are focusing on, so let me show you. And again, it's all about priorities, right? So rather than focusing on this whole tea issue, which is there on page number 20, so this article we are talking about right now, for Assam tea, erratic climate and stagnant prices present a crisis. So this is the article we are talking about. Assam, not only important in India, from world perspective, it is a major reason for tea plantation. And I have asked you people one particular question, whether tea is Rabi crop or Kharif crop. The answer is neither. Tea is a plantation crop. Tea is a plantation crop. In many books, in many searches, you will see tea written as kharif crop. But what is the basic definition of kharif crop and rabi crop, guys? They are grown during particular season, right? But tea is grown all throughout the year. It's a plantation crop. So rather than putting it under the bracket of kharif crop, you put it under the bracket of plantation crop. But again, hope you're understanding where we are going with this. So what we are talking about, Assam government should be focused on these people. 12 lakh people we are talking about, lifeline for over 12 lakh workers. But rather than that, what Assam government is focusing on, this. Assam proposes jail term, heavy fines for polygamy. Priorities. Nice. Okay, it's fine. We have elected our government. Assam has elected government. So tea workers, they are not the concern. These people are awesome. Now let's come back to the article, and then we'll talk about something more awesome. So Assam traditional season cycle is shifting. We have discussed two things are plaguing Assam tea workers. One thing, erratic climate change. One example we talk about now, like Donald Trump is saying that there's no such thing as climate change. You will say that no, there is climate change, and we are seeing it in Assam. Hotter temperatures, delayed rains, persistent humidity. All these things are happening, and tea has a particular Assam tea has a particular aroma. Sometimes people drink, I am a avid tea drinker and coffee drinker, so we drink it because of its aroma and all these stuff. And this is impacted, this will change because of all these changes. It's not only about tea per se. Assam is central to India's $10 billion tea economy. And what is happening? Extended dry spell, heavy rain, you can see all these things, new pest outbreaks, etc. Tea. And the other thing is the economic strain, the price, stagnant price. Tea prices have grown only 4.8% annually over 30 years. On the other hand, wheat and rice grew 8%. Now their cost of production is increasing. Their price is not increasing by same amount. Obviously, they will be feeling distressed. Apart from that, your climate changes, the erratic nature of climate change is also impacting them, because tea is a very delicate crop. Just like you people may have realized, I am also a very delicate person. So tea is also a very delicate crop. What does it mean? That there is certain range of temperature, 13 degree to 28 degree, and even in that, maximum yield will be around this. You can see this rainfall needed. You can see all these numbers, it is in front of you. They prefer acidic soil. They can give you somewhere that tea prefer basic soil. That would be wrong. It prefers acidic soil. So these are some points which you have to keep in mind. Cool, 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 cool. So let's focus. And once we solve some questions, you will remember these stuff. So what are the studies showing? That minimum maximum temperature will rise. So winter, again, you can see all these things. Monsoon rainfall will become erratic. And currently, there are certain regions. Upper Assam, Kachar. I have stayed in Assam, guys. I love Assam. I was in Guwahati. There is a place you people don't know. You people, when you will become 18 plus, you will realize. So there is a place in Guwahati, which is called Bangagar. I used to stay there. So currently in Kachar region, in this particular region, Kachar, hope you can see it, Kachar and the Upper Assam region, you see tea plantation a lot. This article is saying that because of the climate change which will happen, now you will see more tea plantation in Karbi Anglong and Dima Hasao district, because they are comparatively colder at higher altitude. So these things will happen. Assam has to be ready for it. 12 lakh workers are involved. So Assam government has to set priorities rather than focusing on polygamy, this and that. This is an important issue. Maybe not. Maybe government knows better. But again, so current very good regions may lose suitability. And again, I have shown you certain facts. Keep it in mind. Threat to tea quality, and these, because tea is so delicate, or the tea has such delicate requirements when it comes to temperature, rainfall, etc. It impacts the flavor. Again, you can see I have told you all these things. I'm not reading it. because we have to talk about my voice is gone. So many important things. Observe long-term trends. Minimum temperature have means, oh my god, risen by 1 degree Celsius in 90 years. A prominent example of climate change. We can throw this example on Donald Trump's face. Let's see, in Assam area, tea plantation has been affected by climate change. How come you are saying that? This is just a natural cycle. Assam has lost 200 millimeter of annual rainfall. Rising pest incident. All these things have decreased the resistance, resistance capability of plants, tea plants, and pest incidences are rising. So climate resilient practices have to be adopted. That's what this article is saying. This is an example of adaptation. In previous Indo analysis, we have discussed difference between adaptation versus mitigation. This is an adaptation practice. Water innovation, micro irrigation, blah blah blah. We have to do these things. You can write anywhere and everywhere. Whenever you will talk about increasing efficiency. And now tea growers are like, look for something else, guys. Because in tea you have stagnant price, you have erratic climate impacting it. So try growing fruits. Try going into tourism sector. Assam has so many national park, wildlife sanctuary. So do this thing. Seasonally do for certain months tea cultivation. For other months, do these things, because for Assam government, this is not a priority. Polygamy is. So need for policy support. Tea needs policy treatment, and why it's a big issue, because this is not about one people, two people. This is about 12 lakh people, and there is an Assam election in 2026, and that's why you are seeing people, you know, different entities trying to divide Assam on religious lines. So with climate election in 2026, oh my god, Assam election, this should be an issue. In a progressive country, in a developing country, this should be an issue. Assam tea industry, again, we have discussed this. Let's focus on mains question, and then we'll solve some pre-question. So let's say this is a question in front of you. Climate change poses a serious threat to Assam tea industry, affecting both livelihoods and global competitiveness. Discuss the challenges and suggest measures to ensure sustainability and resilience. I keep on telling you people that when you're writing answers for mains, there are certain things which are requirement. You have to write, you have to understand the keywords, and then there is something called as jewels. So poses a serious threat affecting. So here the keywords are challenges. One keyword is challenges. Measures is another keyword. So these two should be your priority. You have to focus on. Anyway, it means you don't have enough answer time to write everything and anything and everything, and then you will write something else, whatever you want to write. So what are the challenges? Two challenges we have discussed: climate change and stagnant price. And then you will define it, what has happened and why it is very important. Climate change is a big issue because tea is a very delicate crop requiring acidic soil and how much temperature, this and that. Measures to ensure sustainability. What is the measure? You like, we need government support. Government should increase prices of tea. Different entities should come together. Maybe we could do rain harvesting to ensure we are not totally dependent on rain fed agriculture when it comes to tea cultivation. So you can talk about all these things, but you have to divide your answer into these two parts. Rest everything is jewel, guys. I check a lot of answer these days. I have seen a lot of people focusing on other things rather than the key requirements. So always see the keywords. In intro, you can write anything and everything. Assam is one of the world's, not only India's, one of the world's most important tea growing regions, supporting over 12 lakh workers. So Assam government has to set their priorities right, focus on these people. They are very vulnerable right now. Tea cultivation is highly sensitive. We have discussed all these things. Embody the challenges part. Two main things: climate related stress, economic pressure, and then the impact on quality. These things, aroma of tea matters a lot, and that will be impacted. So you will focus on these terms. Measures for sustainability, agronomic practices, mulching. What is mulching? In mulching, what happens? Let's say you have a soil. You have soil, you have crops, so you will cover it with certain things to protect the humidity content, moisture content, to prevent it from some other different types of paste. So there are different use of mulching. You can do that. It will ensure they have enough water in them, and again, efficient water waste means water management, so that you are not dependent on rain-fed agriculture. Policy, institutional support. Different institutions should come together to ensure these people are getting their fair price. Economic diversification. They have to look for other opportunities because nobody is looking for them right now. So you are your own best friend, and that's what economic diversification means. Look for other options, guys. Tea is not a viable option for 12 lakh workers who are working in Assam right now. Conclusion: Assam tea industry faces a dual crisis: climate vulnerability, economic stagnation, or maybe we can add a third crisis also: government apathy. Government apathy means the priority is not these people and their concern, The priority is, banning polygamy. Integrated approaches combining sustainable agricultural practices. You can read all these things. Hope you understood the basic rationale behind this article. Let's solve some questions so that you can remember stuff in a much better manner. MCQ 1. Chepande, chepande, chepo. If you know it, you can answer it. Otherwise, I will tell you, use option elimination. When you're solving these questions, MCQ 1, try to use option elimination. Very good. I feel so sad sometimes, you know. There are many people who are like, we will not read news because news makes us means pessimistic. You cannot do that. You people are future civil servants. You have to read news, whether it's pessimistic or this and that. So Iltush and Matt, they have given the answer. It is not a rabi crop. We have just discussed. Many people classify tea as kharif crop, but this is not exactly a kharif crop because it is grown year round and it is a plantation crop. That is a proper demarcation of tea. So second is wrong. If second is wrong, you can eliminate A, C, and D, and you'll be left with B, 1, and 3 as stated by Iltush and Matt King. Really good. MCQ2. Assam tea accounts. Again, have a look at this. Again, use option elimination. Assam tea accounts for a significant portion of India's tea economy. Which of the following is or are true? Over 12 lakh workers are employed in Assam's tea sector. Tea prices in India have increased at a rate higher than staple crops like wheat and rice over the last 3 decades. Climate change has led to erratic tea cycles in Assam. So now, what we have just discussed, right? There are two reasons, which two factors, two concern related to Assam tea. One is erratic climate. Second is stagnant prices. So tea prices have not increased. It have not increased at a rate higher than it had increased at a rate lower than staple crops like wheat and rice. Oh my God. So Iltush and Matking, they have given the answer. Second is wrong. If second is wrong, you will eliminate A, B, and D, and you will be left with C, 1 and 3 only. Very good, yeah. Very good, Iltush and Anandu. Page number 6, editorial GS2, international relation, Trump and Mohammed bin Salman summit. So US Saudi relationship. See, when you talk about GS2, when you talk about international relation, you have to think like anything. Even in UPSC main syllabus, when you will see international relation, you have to see things from India's perspective. US Saudi relationship will have no meaning if we are not looking at it from India's perspective. So you know what is the rationale of this article from India's perspective? So the perspective is, we will discuss that perspective. US is becoming more liberal of Mohammed bin Salman. There was a journalist, Khash Gogi or something. So this Mohammed bin Salman, he is alleged, and he was very critical of Khash, means Mohammed bin Salman, that journalist. So what they did was they killed that journalist in an embassy. It was said that MBS was involved in the killing of that journalist, and then they boiled his body or something like that. Oh my God. And even then, Trump is going to look beyond all those things, humanitarian concern in Saudi Arabia, etc. So that raises good things or happiness for India also. That's what Mahesh Sajdev sir is saying, who is a retired Indian ambassador. So we will talk about other stuff. First of all, let's focus on the keyword, what he is saying here. So this is the part, this one, and then we'll try to see. So implication for India, we'll go through this whole article. First of all, let's focus on this. US transactional approach. US willingness to overlook past issues. Example, human rights issues. There are other issues in Saudi also, women rights issues, and then this killing of this particular journalist. So it may benefit India's own economic engagement strategy. If you don't know the meaning of this particular line, you will not understand what they're trying to say here. US willingness to overlook, have a look at this line and try to deduce in yourself what they are trying to say here. So we have to understand the basic meaning of these terms. US willingness to overlook past issues may benefit India's own economic engagement strategy. That means US is not that concerned with humanitarian issues in Saudi Arabia. So that means they will not be concerned with humanitarian issues in India also. Like in India, our press freedom index is at an all-time low. Human rights issues are there. India is divided on caste, class, religious lines. It's so many divisions, and there are allegations that there are different governments which tries to divide India on religious lines and all these things. Minorities are persecuted. So US will overlook these issues in India also, like they're overlooking it in Saudi Arab. That's what the author is saying via this particular statement. The US willingness to overlook past issues, human rights may benefit India's own economic engagement strategy. So US can overlook issues which are there in India also. I'm not saying it. I believe India is the best because Modi sir is here. Modi hai to mumkin hai. This Mahesh Sachdev sir, who is a retired Indian ambassador, he's saying this and he specializes in Arab world and oil issues. So this US Saudi Arab relationship started in 1945. It was oil for security pact. That means Saudi Arab will provide oil to US and US in turn will provide security to Saudi Arab from countries like Israel, etc. Israel, Iran. So that was the oil for security pact between this is Franklin D. Roosevelt and King Abdul Aziz, and it was extended in 2005 again. Oil for security pact. So, but in recent years there has been strain in relationship, and we will try to understand the impact of, as we have discussed, impact of US Saudi relationship on India. So Chinese missile, Saudi purchase, like now we have seen world is moving towards G2 summit, US and China alignment towards like G2 summit we are going on. So obviously US will not like if Saudi is aligning more towards China or Russia. So same thing happened in 80s, Saudi purchase. But again, there is something called as sovereignty also, national sovereignty. Saudi is free to take their own national decision. Friendship does not mean that on every matter US will have a say. Then it is dependency, right? So Chinese missile Saudi purchase, US did not like it. Yemen war happened, US reduced military supplies. Again, at that time Saudis were fighting against Houthis. Houthis were the rebels in Yemen. UPSC has already asked a PYQ on Houthis. So remember this particular point. Houthis, where they are in Yemen. And Chandler Bing, he was in France. He used to live in Yemen. 16 Yemen Road, Yemen. So Yemen war, again, Khashoggi killing. Again, we have talked about this journalist who is alleged to be critical of Mohammed bin Salman. So unlike me, I'm not a journalist. I'm not critical of Modi ji. So I will not be boiled in a bin. I hope so. So Khashoggi, he was killed in an embassy. Supposed to be killed. What suppose? He was killed, and many people believe his body parts were boiled and this and that. So, but again, US is looking beyond that. Saudi pivot to, and that's why we are saying that US will again under means look beyond our human rights concerns, which is happening in India as well. Saudi pivot to China, Russia. Whenever Saudi tries to go closer towards China and Russia, that creates strain in US-Saudi relationship. So these are some facts which you have to keep in mind. Cool, sir. Oil for security, keep it in mind. Saudi Arab now is becoming more assertive under Mohammed bin Salman. As you can see, how they are killing a journalist inside an embassy and boiling his body parts. Oh my God, that's so. So now, and again, Saudi is becoming more assertive because Iran is also weakened by Israel's two-year military campaign. But Israel is a major issue for Saudi, which and Israel will be balanced by US, and that's why Saudi-US relationship is very crucial for them. Energy is no longer the central driver of US-Saudi because in US they have their shale gas and they're not that dependent on oil anymore. But they still don't want Saudi to align too much with China and Russia. Saudi Arabia still depends heavily on oil revenues, and that's why US sanction on Russia, etc., which still has a lot of oil, because US has imposed sanctions on these countries, which has considerable oil. That keeps the oil price higher, and that keeps Saudi Arabia economically sane because they are dependent so much on oil revenue. So these are some facts which you have to keep in mind. So US aims to curb China-Russia influence in Saudi Arabia, thereby promoting something known as Pax Americana. Focus on the keywords, guys. How US-Saudi relationship is going on. What is this Pax Americana? What is oil for security? Why sanction on Russia, Iran, Venezuela is good for Saudi? Because it will keep oil price higher. So these are some keywords. What is Pax Americana? Pax Americana is a world order which is having so much peace because of influence of US. That is known as Pax Americana. So remember these keywords, they can directly ask you, what does Pax Americana means? Implications for India, very important from GS mains paper 2 perspective. What will be the implication from India? They can ask you. So it's Pakistani angle. Saudi and Pakistan, they have signed a treaty. That attack on one is attack on both. So if US Saudi defense cooperation happens, then Pakistan can also gain access to advanced technologies. That is one issue for us. China factor. Decline in Chinese influence in Saudi Arabia might help us. We can expand our space in Saudi Arab. IMEC corridor launched in G20 2023. India, Middle East, European corridor, which will be going from India to Middle East, from there to Europe. So it has sea lane, it has railways from inside Middle East, and then it has electricity lane, data lane, and all those stuff. So if US Saudi understanding is there, it will enable us to complete this IMEC in a record time. Fingers crossed. US transactional approach. US willingness to overlook past issues. They are not looking at human rights concern in Saudi Arabia, so they will not look at human rights concern in India as well. So we can do our own economic engagement with US. So this is a transactional approach. They are just focused on, like, it's not like they are not an all weather friend. It's all quid pro quo for them. So you can read all these things. Relationship has shifted from an oil for security model to more complex strategic drivers, and you can read all these things. Let's solve some questions so that you can remember stuff in a much better manner. MCQ 3. The main reason for US Saudi strategic partnership during this particular period was what? What was the main reason for US Saudi strategic partnership? Countering Soviet influence, access to oil supplies in exchange for military protection, promoting nuclear energy cooperation, facilitating Israel Saudi reconciliation. Uh, uh, what is the main reason for US Saudi strategic partnership? Anandu and Iltush, they have given the answer. Access to oil supplies in exchange for military protection. Very good. MCQ 4. Pax Americana. What is the basic meaning of the term Pax Americana? What do you understand by Pax Americana? As we have discussed, in this article. Entrepreneurship is a good thing, guys. I'm learning so many things about how things run and all those stuff. It's so exhilarating, but so frightening as well. So Pax Americana, what do you think? US-led international war or US-led international order ensuring global stability through American power. A peace treaty between US and Latin America in 47. US domestic economic policies during Great Depression. US Saudi oil for security. Very good, Iltushan. Mad King. Hello, Mamta. So the answer is US-led international order ensuring global stability through American power. Very, very, very good. MCQ